For centuries, Assyria ruled by terror. Its armies did not arrive to negotiate. They arrived to make examples. Cities that resisted were surrounded, starved, and destroyed. Walls were torn down. Populations were removed and scattered across distant lands. Assyria did not simply defeat its enemies, it erased them, and for a long time no one could stop it. From its massive capitals, Assyrian kings ruled an empire built on fear and force. Their armies marched farther than any before them. Their reputation alone was often enough to make cities surrender without a fight. At the center of this empire stood Nineveh, a city protected by towering walls. A city filled with palaces, armories, and storehouses. A city that believed itself untouchable. But power built on fear has a weakness. Fear spreads. By the late 7th century BCE, cracks began to form across the Assyrian world. Revolts broke out in distant provinces. Garrisons were pulled from one region to suppress unrest in another. The empire expanded faster than it could control. Each rebellion weakened the center. Each campaign stretched the army thinner, and Assyria's enemies were watching. In Babylon, resentment had been building for generations. The city remembered its destruction. It remembered humiliation. It waited. To the east, the Medes were no longer divided tribes. They were organizing, training, preparing. For the first time in centuries, Assyria was no longer facing enemies one at a time. They were beginning to move together. In 614 BCE, the Medes attacked Assyrian cities on the frontier. The empire responded, but the message was clear. Assyria could bleed. 2 years later, Babylon joined the war. This was no raid, no border conflict. It was a decision to end an empire. The alliance advanced methodically, capturing cities, cutting supply routes, and tightening its grip on the Assyrian heartland. With each loss, Nineveh stood more exposed. By 612 BCE, the coalition reached the capital. Nineveh was surrounded. Inside the city, supplies dwindled. Food became scarce. Disease spread through crowded streets. The Assyrian army, once feared across the ancient world, was trapped behind its own walls. Outside, the attackers waited. Ancient accounts describe heavy rains swelling the rivers near the city. Floodwaters weakened the foundations of Nineveh's defenses. Sections of the wall began to fail. The attackers pressed forward. The walls were breached. What followed was not a battle, it was a collapse. The invaders poured into Nineveh, palaces were looted, temples were destroyed. Fires spread through the city. The administrative heart of the empire fell into chaos. Nineveh burned. When the fires finally died, Assyria was finished. The empire that had ruled the Near East for nearly 300 years did not recover. Its remaining cities fell one by one. Its kings disappeared from history. Its power vanished almost overnight. But beneath the ruins, something remained. Clay tablets, records, laws, royal inscriptions lay buried under the destroyed city. The same fires that consumed Nineveh hardened them, preserving them for centuries. Assyria's power was gone, but its knowledge survived. And power did not disappear. It shifted. Babylon rose from the ruins, inheriting the land, the systems, and the records of the empire it helped destroy. Within decades, Babylon would dominate the ancient world under Nebuchadnezzar II. The fall of Assyria was not just the end of an empire, it was a warning that even the greatest power can collapse suddenly. When pressure builds, enemies unite, and fear turns inward. Assyria ruled through terror, and in the end, terror closed in on it.